Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Off Ramp. I am your host, Thomas Jason Anderson. Hey, thank you for joining me. Just want to say that, all of the support I've been getting, I really appreciate it. I know I'm not a big name out there. I'm not some, Anderson Cooper or anything like that. I'm Thomas Anderson. I'm not Anderson Cooper, but I do appreciate the support. I got onto this and I did this platform because I started finding as a research journalist working in the background with all the various media outlets, not just newspaper but television. I started to learn that hey, a lot of the stuff I'm digging up, it never makes it to the general public, and it's because system that we're in. And the system that we're all in, and there's a global system and then there's systems within systems, our national systems, and then we've got in America the state and local governments. I just think that with all these different systems in place, if you're in the media space and you're trying to work with any type of truth or any type of disclosure, it becomes very difficult because you have to make it through all these different layers of interest and bias. And by the time your work gets to the final end piece, it's really watered down and it's almost unrecognizable most of the time. And that was my experience for like almost 15 years, right? And so I just I needed to create a platform where I could just show the world, whether it didn't matter who saw it, but so people could see that, hey, there's a different aspect to the news that you're watching right now. There's a different perspective that can be taken. We're just not being on as a general public. Hold on one second. I'm just gonna go on to my Facebook page just to make sure that I'm good here. Hey, good morning, Brenda. Good morning, Jason. Um, yes. And so I personally, and off ramp politics is a good example of just my personal um acceptance of change. I could see that in the media space, it wasn't enough anymore to be like a broadcaster. It wasn't enough to be a social media person. It wasn't enough to be a researcher. It wasn't enough to be a journalist. Back in 2007 and 2008, when I was doing a lot of the research work with like the New York Times, New York Post, even back then, journalists were being told, "Hey, you can't just write uh, paper. You've got to get active on Twitter. This new Twitter thing, right?" And so slowly it started to go from there, and now everyone understands in the media space that you've got to have multiple talents. You can't just research. You can't just write. You can't just edit. You can't just read from a teleprompter. You've got to kind of have it all almost, and you've got to work at getting it all because now in today's world in the media space, people expect voters, uh, viewers, the general public, they expect to have a different kind of access to members of the media today because they're trying to get the truth, and it's hard to get to the truth by just reading on the surface. You're going to have to engage with these different journalists and editors and other people in the media space to really get to the bottom of what's going on and to really understand it. And so that led me to just embracing change. And I saw this change happening. I said, oh, well, I'm going to make my own platform. And I'm just going to combine, I'm going to take some of the skills I've had over the years, put them all together and try to do this. And so this episode, I guess, and I've been thinking about that and just thinking about the world around us right now and looking at what's going on in the world around us. And I think what I'm noticing more than anything right now is we're in a world now where people they're having a hard time embracing change. Um, how else can I put it? They're having a very difficult time embracing change. Uh, and for some people, I don't blame them. You can look around the world right now. Look at the United States and our economy. Amazon just laid off a bunch of white collar, highly educated people who were highly productive in this new tech space environment, right? And so they've just been laid off. And we've had so many layoffs over the years in the media space. Hollywood is falling apart. AI is bringing so much to the communication space that everything is sort of collapsing because no one can see a path forward that looks anything like the path we were on before. And so everyone who's in charge now, everyone who's in charge of a nation, everyone who's in charge of a big corporation, anyone who's has a say in the media space or in the political world, they're running into this wall where they're trying to convert all of their talents and all of their wealth and all of their good fortune from a path that is no longer being used anymore. Because of technology and AI, we're on a new path. And on this new path, this old stuff that these guys were successful in, it doesn't work anymore on this new path. It just doesn't. Okay. And what do I mean by that? I mean, if you look at what's happening governing wise throughout the world, you can look at the United States, you can look at Anna, and what you're seeing is you're seeing leaders who feel like they have to be strong men, who feel like it's their way or the highway, right? And in the past, I'm sure that worked really well and that got them to where they're at now. But we are now in a space because of technology that you just can't do it your own way. You can't just say this is my way or the highway. You can't say to hell with what everyone else thinks. I'm going to do it on my own. It can't be done in this world. And the reason why is because technology has made us all really super smart and it's made us all really aggressive and really good at fighting for our interests as individuals. And so you if you try to get a strong man to lead the country in America, it's going to be almost impossible to just make everyone do what you say because too many people have access to smartphones. Too many people have access to so much information that they're just not going to listen to anyone. It's not going to happen. So we're in this phase now where there are people at home right now. Some people may be watching this right now who were just laid off from Amazon. I feel your pain. I understand. There are people now who are in the media space who have just been laid off and they're looking for people are telling you, hey, you better learn how to code. You better start going through these big databases and stuff. Like, and you're listening to that and you're going, what's going on? Well, it's happening to a lot of people. This is an era right now where I believe if you're going to do well going forward, you're going to have to embrace change. You're going to have to try things that may not be in the past world that we were in, like pre-COVID and stuff. Maybe you would have never tried certain things, right? Like for me, for example, I would have never tried doing off-ramp politics before COVID. Not this platform that I'm doing now, not the way that I'm doing it. I wouldn't have tried it. Um, I took a leap of faith and I just jumped in and did it. I think that's what we're missing right now. And so let's look at today's politics, right? The Supreme Court just laid down a ruling on Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, to tell him that he cannot uh, willy nilly on his own as president create tariffs on whatever country he wants, whenever he wants, that the Congress, that's their job. And so now Trump's in a really bad place because he's not embracing change. He feels, and all of his people around him, and this is not a knock on them. This is not to criticize them or be critical or say this is where they went wrong. No, no. Donald Trump and everyone around him, they're very used to winning by demolishing their opponent. That's their main tactic. You will rarely hear people within the MAGA movement in the media space talk about trying to do something good for the country without also attaching with it who they're going to destroy to get the good. It just is what it is. The In right wing politics and MAGA politics, it's zero sum game. It's one of those instances where they it's impossible for Trump or anyone else in his orbit to see how they can benefit from something without someone else being hurt really bad. That's just how they operate. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing. All I'm saying is that type of mindset and that type of operation that they have going right there, it's effective because it does destroy a lot of people and it does destroy a lot of entities and it does make people scared and it does put people in a position where they'll do whatever you say. Like that's what they're trying to accomplish with that, right? But as we're seeing today, it only goes so far. This Trump did all the tariffs. He told everybody, he told the whole world, they're going to do what I say. And then the Supreme Court came in and said, no, we're not going to do what you say. And you have the power to tell anyone anything about tariffs, period. It's not your job. Get in the White House and shut your mouth. That's what the Supreme Court said to Donald Trump. And this Supreme Court is his Supreme Court. It's his court. These justices follow behind him. They support him. And so he thought, because, and all of his people in his machine thought, because they're out there, they're a well-oiled machine, they know how to just destroy anything to get whatever they want. And thought that's how you get the victory. Well, it doesn't work like that all the time. And on the tariffs, we now see it doesn't work like that. And so what do? Do we see Donald Trump's very upset? But the problem is the people around him, they don't have a plan. They don't have a plan B. They don't, because whatever plan they have next, it's the same as the old plan. Who are we going to look to, who are we going to attack, to destroy, to take? And then that way we'll win. The problem is that they're in charge and they've attacked and destroyed so many of their opponents. There isn't anyone left. And so they're all fighting each other now. That's why you see the fight within MAGA, within the Trump movement. They're fighting each other because they're all the same type of person, basically. They're all the type of people who believe that they gain by destroying others. This is how they operate. And that's fine. And let me tell you something, that works. Okay. I'm not knocking. I'm not saying it's evil or it's bad. I'm just saying this is their template. This is how they do things. If they can't really see a win, if they don't see someone else losing, right? That's their mentality. And if they get a win and someone didn't lose, they're like, whoa, I didn't really get what I should get. And they feel like they got ripped. They feel like, man, I didn't get what I should have gotten, because the only way I know I got everything I got is if I see a bunch of people destroyed and I took all their stuff too. Now I know I got everything and I'm the winner. This is how they approach things. And this is why they're in the White House now. This is why they're so successful to a point. Because when you approach life this way, when you approach business or politics this way, where you have no loyalty to anyone, where you will destroy anyone or anything to get what you want, yes, you will go far. Yes, you will. But when it comes to crunch time, like it is now, what are you going to do? And this is where we're at. And the question is, can some of these people around Trump, can they embrace change? Can they change the mentality of, we have to utterly destroy somebody in order for us to have success? Can they get out of that mindset? I don't think they can, because I think they've had so much success with that mindset, they're never going to let it go. And so since that's the case, what we're going to see going forward is a continued collapse of the Trump administration. Why? Because who else are they going to attack but themselves? And so we are really at a crossroads. Either they're going to embrace change and stop with the mentality of, I've got to destroy everything in order to win, right? Switch from that and move over to the mentality of, well, I've already won. We're in the White House. We're in charge. Now we have to actually make this right for everybody. It's going to be hard, but we don't need to be destroying the Democrats. We don't need to be destroying other Republicans. We need to focus all of our attention on fixing the huge problems that are sitting in front of our face. That needs to be the mindset. Can they embrace that change and accept that mindset is a question. So along those lines, thinking in that mindset, so Trump just lost big time in the Supreme Court, right? And with that loss is something serious here, right? And I'll tell you what it is. We're talking about a massive hole in the budget, because without these tariffs, we're going to be in the red. We're already in the red. It's going to be worse, right? And it doesn't look like Congress is going to give Trump any help. Right now, what Trump's trying to do is keep on like a universal 15% or 10%, 15% tariff on everything coming into the country. But that's a temporary thing. It only lasts like 35 days or something. And then Congress has to push it forward if they want. So what we've got right now is the Trump administration's in a position where they have some breathing room and they have some time before this hole hits for our budget because of the tariff problem. They have time now to work with Congress to hammer out something to fix the budget deficit. It's a big problem. And they've got like 35 days because I don't think Congress is going to extend these 15% tariffs. And so if we're in that spot and we're trying to embrace change and we're trying to say, hey, you know what? Let's put a pause on trying to destroy the Democrats for a little while and let's deal with this budget problem and this tariff problem. Okay, let's just deal with that. And after we do this, we can go back to destroying the Democrats. But let's just try to work together for a little while. Let's see if they can embrace the change. I don't know if they can. I think it's easy, but here's how you do it, right? So it's obvious the Trump administration, they want tariffs no matter what because they're trying to re-onshore different industries. They're trying to bring jobs back to the United States. They're trying to bring manufacturing back. They're trying to change the economy through this tariff regime, which is fine. And elections matter, and they should have a say in that, right? But they can't have it like the Supreme Court said. They cannot. Trump just can't willy-nilly decide who he's going to tariff and who he's not going to tariff and for how much. It's Congress that has to do that. So Congress needs to step up to the plate. The Democrats need to embrace change too now. See, usually in American politics, this is when I know Commissioner Cole, this is when the Democrats are cheering and they're happy and they're like, yeah, Trump lost in the Supreme Court on the tariffs. So now there's going to be this huge deficit. There's huge budget problem and the economy is going to collapse and we're going to do so good politically. Yeah, they're all going to run to us because we're the saviors. So we're going to make sure these Republicans collapse on this. That's how it usually goes with the Democrats. And that's how it usually goes in politics, right? Well, they need to embrace change too. And they need to say, hey, man, we don't need to see the Trump administration fail on this. And even though we don't like tariffs, we're going to have to come to the table and do something on this. And I wrote a piece on my Substack. It's called, I'll tell you now. It's called the 20% off ramp, a trade deal between Congress and the White House, right? Here, I can pull it up. Okay, so as you guys can see, this is, if anyone was wondering, right, this is my website, Off Ramp Politics. And this is today's piece, the 20% off ramp, a trade deal between Congress and the White House. And what I lay out in here is, the idea that it's possible, right, that Congress can come to the table with the Trump administration and they can levy a 20% tariff across the board on anything imported into the United States. A lot of people would not like that. And I went through the positives and negatives on it, but doing such a thing won't get us back into the black. It won't get us out of red. It won't fix the deficit problem, but it'll fix a big part of it. It can get us way beyond halfway fixed on it. And the raising of prices really won't be that bad. And so if the Democrats are embracing change and the Republicans are embracing change, and they can, for once, just put aside their petty little differences for a little while and focus on something like our budget, and they can implement a 20% across the board tariff on everything coming in and put in the legislation that this money, the revenue coming in, will go directly towards Social Security, Medicare, or bring down the deficit for specific things. This way the voters can see up front, okay, we're taxing foreign imports. That's making our prices a little higher, but in exchange, We've got Social Security under control, we've got Medicare under control, and we brought the deficit down. And so now all of us can borrow cheaper. When we will go to buy a house, we can all get cars cheaper. We can all get access to more things. We can get extra money. There are a lot of benefits that come from fixing the budget and fixing the deficit. Okay, very good benefits. And one of the main ones is you don't have to deal with the inflation that we've been dealing with. Okay, so this is, to me, if you want to talk about like this platform I'm making, you're not going to see this in the major media. Okay, you're not going to see anyone on the right talking about this. No one dares offer a solution that both sides have to sacrifice a little bit on to make work. But here we have the answer, and I've posted it. It's on my site, Off Ramp Politics. Take a look. I don't think it's a heavy lift, and I think it's something that benefits everyone, not just now, but 50, 60 years going ahead, right? So, yeah, embrace change. Embracing change is good, okay? Not all the time, but I think right now in the situation we're in, it's time to do that. And so, with that in mind, we can look at Guyana, and it's a similar situation, you know? So, I posted this morning, I said, look, man, I really like Priya Manichand. I like her, okay? And people were like, well, what are you talking about? Like, she's the same as the rest. It's all the same with the PPP. And I understand that. But here's my embrace change perspective, right? So I've had some discussions behind the scenes with Mark Benchkop and some other people on what I look at when I see Guyana, some of the issues that I see. And one of the big issues is the inability to embrace change across the board, right? And I look at the PPP and I look at Jagdeo, for example, and he is an expert politician. He's expert at doing all types of chicanery, different things that it's very hard to battle that man in a political sense, in many senses, because he's very, very aggressive and he's very, very intelligent and he knows what he's doing. He's very sophisticated. But I look at how he does that and I say, well, in the past, that was probably very, very beneficial, not just for the PPP, but probably for Guyana too. But in today's atmosphere, that extra vicious, strategic destruction of your political opponents, and it's like this never ending thing where he never lets it go, that has to change. There has to come in time in Guyana where their leadership finally says, hey, these guys like Rickford Burke, Mark Benchcott, Melissa Atwell, that they should not be politically harassed, politically attacked. The government of Guyana and the PPP should not be going after these guys. And I'm just naming a couple, but there are others in the media space. I've noticed Critic has complained sometimes about just the amount of pressure that comes on him. It's imperative that the people of Guyana get the news how they get it. And it's not up to the government of Guyana to say who is allowed to give the people the news. If the people of Guyana feel like they're getting the right kind of news and the right kind of information they need from Rickford Burke, and that's where they go, well, then that's where they go. And trying to eliminate Rickford Burke politically, uh, it's just not. It's wrong on so many levels, but it's typical of a Bharat Jagdeo, right? It's typical of him. I'm not knocking him. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. What I'm saying is he learned he learned how to wield these political weapons over a long period of time, and he became expert at them. And now he's still wielding them like it's 2005, and this isn't the time for that. This is a time in Guyana where people need to embrace change, and this blackballing of individuals and applying pressure on them to try to silence them, that has to end. And you don't have to agree with what these people. I don't agree with hardly anything Rick Burke says. I don't agree with a lot of what Mark Benchkop says. I don't agree with Melissa Atwell's approach to how she does the media. I don't at all. Okay, I don't. But that doesn't mean that they should be pushed away. That doesn't mean that they don't have a right to share the information that they are sharing. It doesn't mean that they don't have the right to have support. Okay. And it also means that they shouldn't be because there's a part of this that's like there's like an economic there's an economic factor to this that's heartbreaking to me, and we share it here in the United States. You can go on Roland Martin's site. Roland Martin's been talking about this recently, but if you look at the political environment in the United States, what you'll notice is black people are just not allowed into the political realm of things. Like, for example, if you look at like campaign managers, if you look at all of the political consulting firms out there, it's not, there aren't any black people there, not running it, not like the brains behind entire presidential campaigns. It's almost like we're banned. I'm one of them, right? Like, I, for years, refused to go along with the Republican line, like a Tim Scott or like a Byron Donalds, being a black man that criticizes black people and tells them you just need to, tie your shoes straight and go to school and mind your business and you'll be all right, little boy. Like, this is the attitude. And this is what the Republican Party expects every black man to say when they get on television is, black folks, we need to strap on our shoes, right? And we need to get an education and we need to do what the master say and be smiley and be happy and the world will be okay. Like, this is the vision that the Republican Party has of black men. We have to look a little bit stupid. We have to look a little bit dumb, a little bit like we don't really know what's really going on in the world. And after all of that, they'll give you a little bit of a job so you can walk around and they can show, see, we like black people. Black people are around. But in the meantime, what's happening is usually it's the black person like myself who's doing all the work. And so they're stealing my work and they're using it themselves to propel their careers to make millions of dollars while I get buried. This is the American system in politics. It's almost impossible to break through it. I have to make my own platform to try to share some of what I do. I mean, that's just the case. And so when you look at that, it's also happening in Guyana, where politically there should be a thriving political marketplace in Guyana. There should be political consultants who are making a lot of money. That should be happening, right? It doesn't happen. And people like Rickford Burke and Mark Benschop and Melissa Atwell, they should be highly paid people in Guyana or even outside Guyana, but they should be highly paid people in the political realm doing media work. That's who they should be. I know people in the PPP are going to say, no, you can say what you want to say, but and you can think what you want to think about them. But the reality is, if you look at some of the white counterparts in the same space, there's no comparison. Melissa Atwell, Mark Benschop, Rickford Burke, they put the work in. You may not agree with them, but bro, they're always on. They put the work in. They're diligent. They try, and they're smart. This is way more than most of the white American political types here in the United States. They're better than most of them. And so they should be in some way, in some shape or form in Guyana doing this as a profession. And not only that, but not just them, there are others. I've seen guys like Gordon Mosley, others. There are people who should be thriving right now in Guyana, in the media, in the political space. And it would be so much better for the nation of Guyana because you would have a vibrant debate going, right? But what's happening is people like Jagdeo and these guys who are stuck in their ways, they blackball these guys. And they use the government to try to silence and pressure people into saying whatever they want them to say. And it's not right. We're in a time now where you have to let that go. Okay, if you're Jagdeo, you got to let it go. You have to allow political debate in your country and outside, and you cannot be putting pressure on these guys the way that you guys are because it's evil and it's wrong. It's just wrong. And so hopefully the leadership in Guyana can embrace change, but I don't know if they can. And I worry about it. I look at it. I said, look, I like Priya Manik-Chan. I like her because I can tell that she's someone who I think can embrace change. I think she can come to the table, whatever her past is, whatever problems people have with her. But I see her as someone who politically has enough flexibility so that they can work with the APNU and the PNC, that they can work with the civil employee service force in the country to make things better in the country. Jagdale and Irfan Ali, these guys, they've been through so many wars over the years politically that they're so like anytime they enter the room politically, they suck all the oxygen out of it and no one can do anything. And it's just like whatever they say goes type of a deal. That is not healthy. That's not how Priya Manik-Chan is. And that's why I like her. She allows other people to breathe in the room. She allows other people to have oxygen. She allows other people to be empowered. I'm not saying she's perfect, but that alone is a lot. And she's a woman. Because I'm telling you, one of the biggest things that needs to happen in Guyana, and we're talking about embracing change, women need to be given their proper status in Guyana because the women of Guyana are very impressive. I'm telling you, okay? And they need to be given their proper status in society. I don't know if Jagdale and these guys can do it. I don't think they can. I think Priya Manik-Chan can. I'm not saying she's perfect, but I think she can take the country in the right direction that way. So that's why I say I like her. I'm not saying she should be the next leader or anything. All I'm saying is that's the direction I'm looking in when I see embrace change in Guyana. I'm saying, okay, Guyana needs leadership that isn't going to be constantly 100% opposed to the other party trying to destroy them all the time. You can't be like that. The country can't survive like that going forward. And so it's time to embrace the change. And it's time that the people start to support whoever it is, whatever party they're in, people who are open to ending the blacklisting of people like Mark Benschop and Rickford Burke and Melissa Atwell. They got to stop the blacklisting. They have to open up the media space in Guyana, open up the political space in Guyana for free and open speech and debate. Be a shining light in the region on this, guys. This doesn't take money. All this takes is embracing change. And guess what? You got to have a little forgiveness in you. You guys, everyone on all sides has to have a little bit of forgiveness in them for things to go right in Guyana. And like I talked to Mark yesterday for a little while, and I told him, I said, if you look at the oil revenue coming in and you look at the population of people in Guyana, if you do the math, it's pretty obvious that as long as all of you in Guyana are good with each other and you're tight with each other, regardless of party affiliation, regardless of race, as long as you guys all have each other's back, you're all going to be just fine, better than fine. The challenge is, can the leadership embrace the change that needs to be embraced to bring a new environment to the country, one in which people can speak freely without fearing being blackballed and attacked by the PPP machine? Is it possible? Can they do it? I hope they can. I've been pushing behind the scenes for such a thing to happen. I think they can, but we're going to see. If Jagdale and Irfan Ali can't do it, then I'm saying, hey, can Priya Manik-Chan do it? Can somebody in the PPP step up to the plate and put the past behind, embrace change, and allow the country to move forward in a new direction where everyone has each other's back? Can it be done? That's my measuring stick on the PPP. That's my measuring stick on anyone who wants to run for politics in Guyana. If you're asking me as an outsider what I'm looking at and what I'm looking for, I'm looking for people who want to put the past behind and want to do everything possible to make sure that the people of Guyana have each other's backs and are good with each other. That's what I see as important in leadership right now in Guyana. Let's see if it can happen. So with that in mind, guys, thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. Hey, all of the likes, comments, the support, the shares, I just want to say how much I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the interaction. As you guys know, hey, man, bring me the comments. I'm here. And if there's different topics you guys want to cover, I will cover them. I hope today, I hope today showed you guys a little bit of what I'm trying to do here with this platform, where I'm trying to go. Really trying to get out of the nonsense that we've all been in for a long time, and I'm really trying to help all of us who joined on this platform to get on a new path where we can all move forward in prosperity and in love, right? So thanks again for joining. Thanks again for all the support, guys. Please have a great day. I love you. I will see you guys tomorrow.
Now I'ma put it down like that. I'm leaving, I ain't coming back. You don't like the way I act anyway. You really don't have to react. Don't try to change my mind, in fact. Honey, I've already packed all my stuff. We're no longer kids, let's move on. And you are not my kid, so I'm done. Please don't make me pull my gun. Sorry boy, I can't be the one. You know it, yeah. Nothing lasts forever. You know that a change will make it better. You know that nothing lasts forever. You know that, yeah, change will make it better. There's no one to blame, you see. Maybe we're not meant to be. There are plenty more fish in the sea anyway. Every day's a different thing, so I'm not into wedding rings. It ain't personal, it's the way I think.